everybody and welcome to the playthrough for Expert Division in the Easter Open Tournament. The video is sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic, so let's go. First, we have hole number 1, 20% downhill, so we need to over-adjust 20% here. Max side spin to the left, as you can see we're using almost as much as we can. 3 bars of backspin, not more, because we're going to have a little bit of headwind. And the more yards you have on your driver, the easier this shot is gonna be. And I'm going to adjust my rings out there using max curl on the extra mile level 8, which is approximately 1.5 ball outside the adjustment ring to the left. And max overpower, I'm gonna bounce, and it's going to bounce. Slow down! Slow down! Nah! So close. So close getting that hole in one. That would have been epic. But in the end, as you can see there with the second bounce, would be good to even use half a bar of backspin more. And the only thing in the end here is that we are looking to get an eagle. If we don't, if we don't get an eagle here, it's gonna be definitely a shot that we lose towards winning or placing good in this tournament. I do believe though that we're going to see people struggling here, because there is, when we do have headwind and playing this one so much downhill, is that we're going to see many players having a problem getting over the bunker, as for the compressed ball guideline that is going to make an effect. Before it's time to go for hole number 2, I would like to check down in the video description below, and you will be able to see the timestamp for the holes in this playthrough, combined with the link for patreon.com/golfclashtommy. The link for Patreon if you do want to get the updated text guides for the Easter Open tournament. Hole number 2. And now I'm going to go with a little bit of a more aggressive approach here. And that is that I'm going to go with 6 bars top, with 4 bars side spin to the right, aiming with half of the red ring inside the rough there to the left. And then we're going to adjust max distance with a 10% over adjustment. And in the end, I'm going to apply to go with the ball just by the edge of the circle there to the right. And that is because I do want a ball to be kicked into the right here and to stay on the fairway instead of rolling into the rough. Now that's very close, and that's something that will be close for you. That if you do want to play with that type of shot, you kind of need to push it there. It's better for you to go into the rough on the left than, of course, going into the sand on the right. So rather give yourself a little bit room to the left for a miss, and then the right side. You maybe wonder why we're not playing left side. The reason we're not playing left side is that we're going to have a problem reaching over to the left, and we don't want to do a mistake there and have just an unlucky drive there. Now our opponent is super close there to the rough as well. Sure, that will be an easier time to make an eagle, but it also requires most of the time a driver that gives you more distance. So for those of you that are playing with an APOC 5, 6, 7 in Expert, then the left side could be a way for you to play, because you have more distance and you maybe can pull out a power 4 ball and so forth. But I'm trying to keep this one with a power 3 ball, which is a kingmaker. I'm also using here a big dog, which could be the wrong club in this situation, because we went to make a very good drive. I'm going to play on the right side of the trees, to make sure then, of course, that I'm not gonna hit any of the trees. It is close! And we're coming in here, and sure, with a little bit less backspin, we'll be giving it a chance for an albatross. So, depending on the clubs that you're having, the left side is definitely in play. But if we do have like an extra mile 6, 7, 8, then I would prefer you playing on the right side instead. Hole number 3. Here we are going to play with a sniper. And we're going to play with a sniper and a power 3 ball. And the power 3 ball is going to be a kingmaker, as it's going to reduce the wind for us as much as possible. And you can play with a different ball if you want to, but I do want side spin. So therefore, I'm gonna play with a Kingmaker to reduce the wind, give myself side spin and also distance at the same time. 7.8, and with the method that we're going to use is that we're going to adjust this one 7.8 rings. 4 bars side spin to the right with 5 bars backspin. And you can see the tip of the ball guideline is going to be basically by where the pin ends, but approximately 2 squares outside there to the right, with the white ring aligned with the bunker to the right. And the thing that you're gonna see here is that we are going to go a little bit short with this shot, but that's okay though. The tweak we can do here is to reduce a little bit of backspin, then we're gonna get this ball in the hole. Have in mind though that when you do adjust, if you're not gonna use a sniper, you will have to over adjust 20% for the tee shot. .0 using the blue ring by the rough on the right, and in the +3 or 4 yard mark, using 4 bars of topspin with as much side spin there to the right possible. I would also consider you playing maybe with 5-6 bars of topspin, no matter what, depending on what you feel. Max curl was the plan originally, but going with just half a ball of curl outside adjustment ring to the right, with just a tiny little bit of overpower. And there you can see we're coming here, we roll, stop, no! Roll into the rough. So, but I'm still going to show you 2 different approaches here. One when we go with a rough iron, then we're gonna go basically for a rough iron dunk to give ourselves an opportunity. And then I'm gonna show you a max backspin approach. The max backspin approach is something that I would consider being the best here in Expert, due to the headwind that we're gonna have for our approach. Because the problem we get in headwind here is that it's very easy to be short with our adjustment, and then it's very easy to hit the pin. And if we hit the pin, we're gonna roll down into the sand or into the rough again to 100%. So here, I'm gonna stretch out to see approximately where I am in terms of distance with my rough iron. I'm not gonna use that platform there or that fairway there, because that's going to be super risky in itself. So I'm trying to go for the dunk, trying to be a little bit innovative with my adjustment. I'm not gonna make it though, but I do feel that in the end, when I go into the rough there and not having enough backspin for a backspin approach, this is the only way for me to actually give myself an opportunity. Missed that one slightly low to the left. And now you can see the second approach, which is going to be made with a thorn with max backspin. And the max backspin here approach is taking away the risk of course, bouncing at the pin. So the only thing to think of here is look at the tip of the ball guideline, how that slightly changed depending on where we are at the green. So here we do need to find a spot that gives us the most consistent bounce. This is not it. As you can see, it's slightly changing there. Hit it perfect here. It's gonna come back in. Oh, they don't. So close. But once again, I do believe that's going to be the little bit better approach than playing with the dunk there. As for the headwind, just to take the elevation as well, so we don't forget about that. For hole number 4, it's 10% for the drive downhill, and for the approach shot, it's 10% uphill. So we need to play that one uphill. So we need to first add and then deduct. Hole number 5, here we're not gonna think about the elevation that much. It is 10% downhill though, so we're gonna go full blast overpower down the middle there. And the thing that is cut away here is actually the drive, but that the drive is, we're just gonna go full blast overpower with a Titan, with as much topspin, and we're not gonna think about it twice. That will leave ourselves up with a big dog or with a Cataclysm going for the back end of the green to make the ball fall down towards the pin. It's going to be an aggressive shot, but I want to play this one aggressively when we do make such a good drive. Make sure here though that if you do have a club that gives you more than 6 bars topspin, which you could be getting if you do have an Apocalypse 6 for an example, then you maybe take off a bar when you make a full overpowered shot, as you otherwise can roll into the rough that we do have on the left, and that's gonna take away at least the easy part of getting the ball to green in 2. Get it to green, gonna be a nice and easy eagle. Hole number 6. Here we are going to play with 10% downhill. And the thing that I'm going to do here is that I'm going to play it as I do in Pro. I'm going to play it 1-to-1 adjustment. So whatever the wind is saying, that's going to be the amount of range that I'm going to adjust when I play with my sniper. Our opponent's going to play with a Marlin ball. Here, you know, in a tournament though, especially on par 3, it is very valuable to reduce the wind, as it's going to be much easier to control here. Gonna bounce here, gonna come in pretty nicely for being a Marlin ball here. A little bit short, but no problem whatsoever to make a birdie. .3, and you can see we are in medium distance of our club, which is 10%, which is 1-to-1 adjustment with the sniper. So 10% extra from medium distance, 1 bar backspin. And I actually saw there I'm using a little bit of side spin to the left. I don't think if you notice that, but that's not what I want to do. Blue ring by the rough there at the bottom, important. We adjusted for 8.0 here as well. So I want you to play 8.3, not 8.0. So this ball is gonna bounce in here, gonna come in, and we're gonna miss to the left here. Makes total sense now when we actually had a tiny bit of side spin to the left and only played it 8.0 for 8.3. So you played 1-to-1, 8.3 for 8.3, and it's gonna be good. Hole number 7. The last par 4, and now we're gonna have a tricky win for the rough bump. I would say that the Master Division is the only division where the rough bump is actually the best one of them. So weird, but yeah. So the thing that we're gonna do here, using the extra mile, we're having a Titan here. I'm actually gonna change to a Kingmaker, even to a Navigator. No, there we go. And then I'm gonna not use anything in terms of top spin or backspin. I would like you to go with 1 bar backspin maybe, to just make sure that the ball isn't gonna roll too far and we're gonna be in between clubs. Bounce here and we bounce forward. Now we want it to sit. And once again, I do not want us to drive too far, as we will once again be in between clubs if that happens. And then we have to play on the left side, which I very much dislike. And even though the rough bump is a very tough approach, I do believe that the rough bump is going to be the better of them two. But they are definitely not giving ourselves they are definitely not giving us easy win to play the approach shot here on hole number 7. Nice shot with the rough iron here, coming in nicely. No problem to make a birdie. And that's the thing as well, you know, if you do not want to make a rough bump, then you are going to play on the left side to just secure the birdie. Because of course it's risky. We have such a tiny area that we do need to hit. And the thing that I'm going to do now, once we have to adjust down into the sand, we will have to under adjust our shot 40%. If we would be having a crosswind here, I would go with 20% under adjustment. But once we are dropping down here into the sand, it's time to play it 40% instead. I'm not doing this here. I'm using basically a 30% under adjustment. And therefore we're gonna go a little bit short in the rough. And we do get a bounce to the right here. We go very short on the rough. So 40% uphill is going to be the play there on hole number 7. Hole number 8, we're gonna play with a Quasar, max backspin, and as much side spin to the right possible with the with the quarterback. I'm using the blue ring by the bunker here this time. And going to adjust with the second bounce just in there on the green. Adjusting for minimum numbers with a 20% over adjustment. Using a little bit of curl to the right, but I would like us to go with more actually. A little bit more curl would be coming in much better towards the pin, and that would be perfect. If you do have a ball that gives you wind resistance at least level 3, and you do have a power 1 or ball or less, then that's the ball that you want to go with. As if we're using a power 3 ball like a Quasar here, like a Kingmaker here, we're gonna be in between clubs using the quarterback. And let's say you do not have a max upgraded quarterback and you maybe have a level 8 which doesn't have the max backspin as quarterback can get, then we're gonna play with the Rocket. And the Rocket has more backspin, and once again I'd rather play with that club than I want to play with a Sniper, as with backspin we take away the bunker from play completely. Hole number 9, max topspin, 6 bars, and also some side spin to the right. The only reason I'm using side spin here is for the fact that we're having a crosswind and tailwind right to left. And instead of having to use a bunch of curl, then I'm using the side spin instead. I'm going to adjust my rings, and once I'm done, I'm gonna push myself up into max distance again. Tiny bit of curl to the right, and max overpower. As you can see, we hit this ball good, or like great. We bounce very nicely coming down here. We're gonna get the ball to stop just before the rough here, or all with that like red mark or whatever we can call it there. And this is definitely going to give ourselves an opportunity for the Albatross. So the drive is 10% downhill. So when you do adjust your numbers, you adjust for 10% extra, and then you push up your target into max distance again. And here you can see the problem with, not the problem, sorry, with using a little bit more curl, you're gonna be pushed most likely more towards the right side. It's hard to control if the ball is gonna stop before the rough or not. Good drive from our opponent. And now I'm gonna try something here, that I'm going to try to use the hill there on the left of the pin. And see if the ball will be falling back towards the pin. But I do believe though that adjusting up there on the green is going to be the way for us to play. But I would not recommend you to play for the back end of that hill, because it's most likely just gonna make you fall down towards the right. Over adjust your second shot 5% from the distance you're in, and you're gonna be good. It is an Albatross opportunity. In Expert, I do believe we're gonna see 13, 14, 15 on 9 holes. That's gonna be, I would say like this, minus 13 in my opinion is par. And therefore we're gonna see minus 14, 15, maybe some 16s as well, which will probably make it be much possible to make a minus 30 in the weekend round. If you do have any questions, let me know in the comment section below. If you do like the video and the content, please take your time, hit thumbs up before you go. The video is sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic. Good luck in the Easter Open tournament.